say I've been alright. 'Cause it feels like I've been living upside down. What can I say? I'm surviving, pulling out these sheets to see another day. What can I say? I'm surviving, and I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna be fine, I think I'll be fine. Ooh, yeah. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Ooh, yeah. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Goosebumps on my skin, hairs on the back of my neck. Where do you begin? Where does the fantasy? It's driving me wild. Goosebumps on my skin, hairs on the back of my neck. Where do you begin? Where does the fantasy? It's driving me wild. Goosebumps on my skin, hairs on the back of my neck. Where do you begin? Where is the fantasy? It's driving me wild to know that I can't help you.
Hey guys, so our debut album, Bad Blood, came out 8 years ago today, which is mental and terrifying, and doesn't feel real. Anyway, to celebrate, I'm going to answer a load of your questions by posting a video with some answers. So, send in some questions, either in your videos using the hashtag #AskBastille or in the comments below. Ask me whatever you want, within reason, and obviously I get to pick which to answer, so don't be ridiculous. But yeah, can't believe it's been 8 years since Bad Blood came out. That is absolutely mad. So let's see what you've got to ask. Oh, thanks. Glad you like it. Glad you think so. This is terrible, don't actually remember which came first. I think they sort of came at the same time, and the fact that there's a part 1 and part 2 came out of the fact that I'd written a bunch of sections and couldn't decide which I liked more, so took the really lazy compromise of turning it into 2 songs. But the fact that one's called part 1 to me would suggest we maybe did that one first, even though part 2 comes earlier on the album. Part 1 just felt like a much lighter, more optimistic note to finish things on, and it was meant to be a hidden track. Anyway, glad you like it. Thank you. Good question. I guess there's a massive cliche in music about you having your whole life to write your first album and then a very short period of time and very different circumstances in which to write your second and third or fourth or whatever. So for us, I guess Bad Blood was made in London, made in my bedroom, made in Mark's studio. You know, we had years to sort of work on the songs and think them over and, you know, accumulate everything we'd done up to that point. Then obviously that album did really well and our whole lives changed. So Wild World to us was, it was the complete opposite. It wasn't made in a basement. It was made all over the world in backstage rooms and in studios and in all these different settings. Doom Days, however, we found a kind of new musical home in One Eye Jacks in London, and we got to make it here. So yeah, I guess they've all been quite different experiences. I hope that answers your question. Ooh, good question. Well, I'm really bad at singing, so they're all pretty hard. Things We Lost in the Fire was quite high for me. We had to bring it down. This is quite a literal, boring answer, I'm sorry. But yeah, they're all a nightmare. Have you been to one of our shows before and seen me struggle? How confident would I feel? I'd like to think that muscle memory would kick in and I'd be fine, but I know that that's not the truth. I'm very fortunate to often have some wonderful people in the audience who know all the words, often better than me. And I have been known to sometimes use them as a human auto cue and try and read their lips while singing. On confidence, on a scale of like 1 to confident, I'd put myself probably near 1, maybe, if that makes sense. Here's a quick fire studio tour. Yes, I will tell Kyle that you love him, for sure. Consider it done. Oh, that's a good question, and a very difficult one to answer. I love Things We Lost in the Fire because it's surreal and beautiful, and it gave birth to loads of sort of imagery for us that was so important for our artwork and all our live shows. I love them all, really. We're so lucky. Floors as well. The Floors video for me, I love the Skeleton Girls feel kind of iconic. The Pompeii video was an interesting shoot because I had to be in all of it, but yeah, I think some of the imagery in that was brilliant. The Oblivion video I loved working with Austin Peters, and the Rhythm of the Night video as well, Of the Night, I thought was great. You know, I think with the videos, because they're collaborative and we get to work with other directors, I feel able to say if I think they're good or not, because that's not like praising our own work, I hope. Good question. I love playing Pompeii just because people get so excited by it still, and it also signals the end of our set. What's that? I'm trying to think of stuff from Bad Blood, but I love playing Things We Lost as well. I love playing Overjoyed. I'm just listing the album at you now, I think, a little bit, but fun. I mean, at the reorchestrated shows, I've absolutely loved getting to play Weight of Living Part 1. That's been like a real euphoric moment. What's your favourite song to hear us play? Turning it back on you. Sort of had it in my head that the album would be called Bad Blood before I wrote the song. Bad Blood was the last song that we made for the album. So yeah, it kind of, it sort of, for me, pulls everything together and ties up the era and what all the songs are about. Yeah, it just sounded kind of punchy and dramatic and like an old sort of noir film or something, or I don't know, like a pulp book. But yeah, I like it. I hope you do. Maybe not.